Hello, hi everyone. Welcome to Cybrosys Technologies. In today's video, we're going to discuss about how to develop a module in Odoo 19. So, before moving on to the development side, we have to set up a database. So, to set up the database, first we need to define the master password. So, if you don't know the master password, we can just dive into the PyCharm, and under the conf file, here you can see that we have the admin password. So I have given the password as admin itself. So let me copy it and let me navigate into the browser, and under the master password here you can just set the password over here. So the password that you have given under the admin password will be treated as the master password. Later on we need to set the name for the database. So I would like to set the name over here as dev Odoo 19 because we are just going to do some development part of Odoo 19. Now here you can also choose the email and password, and this is treated as the credential to log into the database. So let me choose admin as the username and password. And if you want to just set the country, you can set that. And let me set the country over here. And let me click on demo data in order to load the demo data. Afterwards, you can click on continue, and you can see that it will be taking a few minutes to load everything and create the database. So once everything is loaded and in the UI here, as you just move on to the PyCharm here, you can see that can be tracked under the log. So here you can see it's loading the demo data, updating the module list, and creating the reports. Here you can see everything, okay? And creating or updating the database table. It's setting the modules security file. So you can track everything under the log, okay? So once everything is done here, you can see that currently every loading is done, and once the loading is done, we can make sure that the database is created. So currently we are in the enterprise edition. So if you don't know what is an enterprise edition and community edition, I'll tell you. Odoo has got two editions, which is a community edition and enterprise edition. Community edition is completely free, okay? And the enterprise edition is a paid one. And the difference is that when you're just going with the community edition, you have to um, uh, I mean, everything will be created from the scratch, but the difference is that Community Edition will have the limited features and there will be a slight change in the UI. And if you want to create the menu and all like this, the home screen and all like this, you have to use a separate module to set that. But in case of Enterprise Edition, you don't need to use a separate module to set the home screen. And the other difference is that you have ample of apps and features available under the Enterprise Edition. You can do the development both in Community Edition as well as in the Enterprise Edition. Now, here you can see everything. Like everything is loaded and right. Now, I'll show you how to install a module in this. So to install a particular module, we can just move on to the apps. Here you will be seeing all the modules right now available. Okay. Now let me activate the sales module. So upon clicking on activate here, you can see that something is loading over here. So all those loading can be also tracked under the log. So here you can see that the slide bar is moving, and here you can see everything is getting loaded over here. Okay, so it's updating the products, loading all other details or the features that comes under the sales module. So whenever you just install a particular module from the app list, and if it has got any dependency module, that dependency module will be also getting installed while installing the main module. Okay, so once you install the sales module, you can see that the dependent modules such as the invoice, discuss, and link tracker will be automatically installing over there. Okay, so once the loading is done, you can see that the log will be in a saturation. Okay, if everything is done, you can see nothing will be tracking over there. Like everything will be done within that. So let's wait for a while. Okay, now let's move on to the database, and here you can see that we have successfully installed the sales module. So it has got some dependency modules such as Discuss, Dashboard, Invoicing, Link Tracker, and all. Now let's see how to create a module in Odoo 19. So to create a module in Odoo 19, first we have to create a directory called custom add-ons, because all the customizing module will be storing under the custom add-ons. So let's see how to do that. So here you can see that currently we are in the enterprise edition. So if you want to know whether we are in the community edition or in the enterprise edition, you can easily track it from here under the add-ons path. In this case here, you can see that we have the add-ons path as well as the enterprise file over here. So if you are only setting the add-ons path, then you can, from that you can just conclude that you are using the community edition. And if you're just setting the enterprise file over here, then from that we can easily understand that we are just using the enterprise file. Okay, so now let me create a directory called custom add-ons. So choose Odoo 19, click on the right button of your mouse and move on to new, and here you can find directory. So a directory is nothing but that is simply creation of a folder to store other customizing modules. So while naming a directory, we have to follow a small rule over here. The name of the directory must be in small letters, and if you have multiple words in a directory, you have to use underscore instead of space. If you're just going with space, it will be causing error in the future. So in this case, I just want to set the the directory name as custom add-ons. So I'll be setting it over here and let me click on enter. Upon clicking on enter, um, the directory will be created over here. Now I just want to create a module, right? So the name of the module is college ERP. So let me choose custom add-ons over here. Again, let's move on to new and let me create a directory, because all the files related to this module will be storing under the college ERP. So I'll be setting the name of the module as college ERP. Once it's done, you can click on enter. Now we know that the Odoo is defined in Python, and the main thing while we are just developing a module is a manifest file. A manifest file is defined in Python dictionary. We know as the Odoo is defined in Python, the manifest file will have the extension .py. Now let's see how to create a manifest file. So to create the manifest file, use the college ERP, that is the directory that we have created for our custom module. Click on right button of your mouse and move on to new. Here we have the option to create a Python file. So let's choose Python file. Now we only need to provide the name of the file. So in this case, we know the first and foremost thing while developing a module is providing the manifest file. So while naming the manifest file, it is mandatory to use double underscore manifest over here. Again, double underscore. You don't need to provide the extension separately, as we are just going with manifest file. So upon clicking on enter, here you can see that the extension will be automatically added over here. Now here we can see a pop-up which shows that if we want to add this file into the Git, we can just do so by moving with the add button, or else we can just go with the cancel button. So let me close it, and once that's done, here we also just need to provide the encoding standard. So if you want to set the encoding standard, and if you don't know how to set an encoding standard, you can just move on to the add-ons. The add-ons are nothing but that is the module. Add-ons will have certain modules that is created by Odoo, or we can say that these are the built-in features of Odoo. Now let me consider one of the module, which is account. And here you can see that we have a file called manifest. So if you want to just get the encoding standard, you can simply copy it from here. And let's move on to the manifest file of our module. And here you can just set it over here. Okay. So use Control B in order to paste. And we have already talked that the manifest file is defined in Python dictionary. So to define a dictionary, we have to use curly braces. Okay, open the curly braces and set the closing curly braces. And we know that a dictionary is defined with key value pair. So you can use either single quotes or double quotes to define this key value pair. But to make a standard, I'll be using single quotes for the keys and double quotes for the value. Okay. And before doing that, we also just need to ensure that while developing a module, initially we'll be setting two files. That is, one is the manifest file and the other one is the init file. So let's say I have to create an init file also. So let me move on to new, and here let me choose the Python file and use double underscore and set init, again use double underscore and click on enter to create an init file. I don't want to add this into the Git. If you don't need to get this message frequently, you can just enable this don't ask again and choose cancel. Now let's move on to the manifest file itself. And in the manifest file, here I'll be adding the key. Okay. So the key is name. I just want to set a name for my module. So I'll be setting the name of my module as college ERP. So once that's done, what you have to do is we can just simply run this Odoo 19. So here you can see that everything is loaded under the log, and now we just need to navigate into the Odoo database, and under the apps here we can search for college ERP. So as I just search for the college ERP, here you can see that the module is not available. This is because we haven't added the custom add-ons in the conf file. So let's say I have to add that. So here you can see that I'll be copying the path of custom add-ons. To get the exact path of the custom add-ons, you can use Ctrl-Shift-C and move on to the odoo.conf. And as we just want to add a new path over here, you can simply use a comma to separate with the previous paths or the existing paths, and use Ctrl V in order to add the path of custom add-ons. Once it's done, again, you just need to rerun the Odoo 19. Now again, let's move on to the Odoo 19 database. And here you can see that we have two options like the update app list as well as apply scheduled upgrades. So I just want to update the app list. So upon clicking on update, here you can see that the created module will be loaded into the Odoo. Let me search for that. Okay. So here you can see that we have successfully created college ERP. Now let me click on activate to activate this module. And here we can see that we have the module info. So when we just move on to the apps, here you can see that the module is not visible in the home screen. It's because we haven't provided the models, views, and security. So I'll be showing that all in this video. Before moving on to that, we have to add a few metadata into the manifest file. The metadata defines who has created this module and what is the purpose of the module, and everything. I mean, every details regarding the module will be defined under the manifest file. So let me search for college over here. So here you can see that it will be very difficult to add the module frequently. I mean, search the module frequently over here. So if you want to just get the module without any searching, you can just set a default filter. Let me move on to save current search and set it as default filter, and let me save that. So here you can see that even if you just made anything over here, you'll be getting the module over here. Okay. Now let me move on to the module info. So here you can see that a few keys are missing over here, such as the author, the category, and you can see the technical name. So technical name will be treated as the name that you have given for the directory of your custom module. So here we have given college ERP, right? Now, as I just move on to the pie chart, here you can see that the custom module name is college ERP. So this will be treated as the module name. Okay. And now what we have to do is we just need to set all those keys and values over here. So let's see how to set all those. First, we have to define the version. So here we have got the latest version, which is 19.0.1.0. So let me copy the version and let me set the version over here under the manifest file. So if you want to use multiple keys and values, you have to use comma to separate each one. So again, let me choose the key, which is version, and let me set the version over here. Okay, so here you can see that we are getting an error. This is because we haven't defined it in the single quotes or double quotes. So while providing the value, either we have to use a single quotes or double quotes over here. Okay, so let me set that, and let me just get a proper indentation. To do the proper indentation, select everything. That is, use Control A to select everything and Control Alt um, L to get the proper indentation. Okay, so once that's done, now let me again rent the Odoo and let me upgrade the module. So once I upgrade the module here, you cannot find any change because we are using the same version over here, right? Okay, so you cannot find any further changes. But if you want to see the change, here let me move on to the module, and under the module information, you cannot find the change under the latest version. But if I just want to change the version, you can see that if I just set it as 1.1, you can find the change after rerunning the Odoo. Again, we have to upgrade the module, and here you can see that the version will be changing as 19.0.1.1. Now let me move on to the module, and here you can see that we have successfully changed the version. Now I just want to add a few keys over here. Okay, so let me move on to the PyCharm, and here you can see that we have the license key missing. Okay, so when you just move on to here, you can see that we haven't provided the license key, and by default we'll be using the license key as LGPL3. So there are different types of license key available in Odoo, but by default we'll be using that. But when you just move on to the UI, you can see the license is given over here. But we are getting a warning in the in the log, right? So if we want to remove that warning, we have to specify the license. So next I'll be using a key called license. So once it's done over here, you can provide the license. Okay, so you can simply copy this, that is the license, and use Control C, use double quotes and provide within it, and okay, and let me separate it with a comma. And once everything is reloaded over here, and when you upgrade the module, here you can see that the warning will be missing under the log. Okay, now when you just search for the log here, you can see that we are not just getting that warning. Now I just want to add the author, summary and all. So I'm going to add the author. So if I just want to add the author, that author is the one who has developed the module. So here in this case, we know Cybrosys Techno Solution is the author of the module. So I'll be setting Cybrosys Techno Solution as the author over here. And I just want to define the website. So let me set the website over here. And let's say that the website is www.cybrosys.com. And I also want to define the category. So if I just want to set the category, I'll be using a key called category over here. Okay, and afterwards we know that the college ERP comes under the education. Okay, so the category is education, and let me set that. So if you're making any spelling mistake in the key, you won't be getting the result in the UI. So again, let me rerun Odoo 19, and let's move on to the database. And in the apps, we have the module info, or you can just go with the 3 dots and choose upgrade. So after upgrading, you can see that everything will be loaded into the database, and you can see that a few keys will be updated under the module info. So again, let me navigate into the apps, and let's move on to the module info. So under the module info here, you can see that we have successfully provided the author, the website of the company, as well as the category. Now we have a few more fields such as the summary, description and all. So let's see how to add all those. So if you want to add the summary, we can just um, use the key summary. So let me provide the key summary over here. So in this case, we can add the summary, an ERP solution for college management. So as it's a caption, or we can say it's multi-line, we can use triple quotes. An ERP for college management. Okay. So once it's done, you can run this, and again, let me move on to the database and let me upgrade. And once it's loaded, you can see that the description will be added over here. Okay, let's move on to the apps, and let me move on to the three dots, and under the module info, here you can see that we have successfully added the summary. Now I just want to add the description. So again, I'll be using the other key called description. And here, let me add the description that from students admission to graduation, this covers all aspects of college management. Okay. So here you can see that we are just getting the error. The error is that we haven't used a colon, and it's a multi-line, and here we are still using um, double quotes. We just need to set it as triple quotes, and let me correct the mistakes. And if you want to again add any I mean yeah, a few more keys, you just need to use a comma to separate it. But still here you can see that we are just getting something error over here. What's that? Here we can find there are few mistakes over here. So from college students, from students admission to graduation, this covers everything. Okay, so let me copy everything from here. Okay, the mistake is that we haven't provided the codes for, proper codes for the description. Let me use the triple quotes and provide it over here. And afterwards, separate it to the comma. And again, let me run this. Okay. And afterwards, we can again upgrade the module. So once the module is upgraded, you can see the description over here. Okay. So let me move on to the apps, and under the module info, you can successfully see that we have added the description. Now, here you can see that as we just move on to the apps, from the UI, we have just set the filter over here. But I don't want to apply any filters over here. But whenever I just move on to the apps, I want to get the my module, that is the college ERP, first in the app list. So you can just easily set that using a key called sequence. So I'll be setting the sequence as -10. Okay. And if I'm only setting the sequence over here, I won't be getting the result. I'll show you that. Okay. So let me set the sequence and let me move on. And afterwards, here we just need to apply the scheduled upgrades. Okay. Actually, not this. Let me remove that. Let me move on to the college ERP. Now again, let me upgrade the module. Okay, we have to wait for a while because everything is loading over here. So once it's loaded, you can see when we just move on to the apps, we are just getting the filter. When I remove the filter, I'm not getting the module over here as the first module. Okay. If I just want to get likewise, I just need to use other key called application. So I just want to treat my module as an application, and the application has got two values. That is the Boolean value. It can be either true or false. If I'm setting it as true, this module will be treated as an application, and I just want to manage with installation. Like I want to make this module installable, so I'll be using the key called installable and set the value as true. And if you want to just manage with the auto installation, you can also just use that key over here. Okay. So if it has got any other dependency module and all, and if that module is installing, we just need to automatically install this module also. So you can basically use this key over here, that is auto install, and set it as true itself. And afterwards, let me run everything, and again, let me search for college ERP, and let's move on to the module info, and let me click on upgrade. Now here you can see the change that even if we just remove the filter, we can easily find the module in the app list. So let me remove, and here, tada, we have just got the result that from the backend, we can set the sequence of a module, and without using any filters, we can just make first in the app list with the custom module. Now here you can see, even if we just create a module, college ERP, the module is not available in the home screen. It's because we haven't added the models, or we haven't added the views and security. So let me consider a module, which is the sales module. So as I just move on to the sales module, now let me just enable the developer mode. So once the developer mode is activated, you can find the bug icon over here. So I have just enabled the developer mode using an extension. So you can just basically use this extension to easily activate the developer mode. Okay, so currently we are in the quotation. And if we just move on to the module here, you can see that currently we are in sales module, right? So each of this module has got a model, right? So when we just go to this module here, you can currently cannot see the model, but we have to create a model. So the model will define where to store the data. Okay, so we know when we just create an application, we will be having data in it, and we have to store those data somewhere. So in Odoo, we are storing the data in the Postgres. So when we just create a model, the Odoo, the data will be storing in form of a table in the Postgres. So let's see how to create a model. To create the model, let's move on to the PyCharm again. And here you can see that we have the college ERP. Use the college ERP. Within this, first we have to create a directory called models. So I'm going to create a directory called models, and let me click on enter. Afterwards, I'll be creating a file called init. So it's a Python file. You can simply use the Python file over there and create the init file. And use double underscore, click on enter to create the init file. So once it's done, now what we have to do is we just need to add the models in the outer init file, and the creating models in the inner init file. Okay, so first let me move on to the outer init file. So I just want to import the models from dot import models. Okay, so currently I have just called the models in the outer init file. Now in the inner init file, I'll be adding the models. Okay, currently I haven't added any model. Now let's see how to add the model or create a model in Odoo 19. So again, choose models over here and move on to new. And in this case, I'll be moving to the Python file. So here we know we are just managing with the college ERP, right? So college ERP, in the college ERP, we have the college students, teachers, and everything. So I'll be setting the name of the file as college students. Okay, college students, and choose the Python file so that the extension will be automatically adding over here. And here you can see that we just need to add this file in the inner init file. So again, let me just move on with from dot import college student. Okay. So here we should get, yeah, actually we are adding it in the college students. That's why it's not suggesting. Actually, where we have to add this, we have to add it under the init file. So let me move on to the init file and let me add the college students over here. Okay, so once it's done, again, let's navigate into the college students. Now, what we have to do is we have to create a model. So to create the model first, we have to import the fields and models from Odoo. So I'll be setting the code over here from Odoo import models. Okay, so we have to create a model. To create the model, you can see you have to use two space in between this. And first, let me define a class and let me provide the name of the model. The name of the model will be giving in camel cases. So let's say college students and models dot model. So in this case, when we just provide a model or create a model, in the Postgres, a table will be created uh, with the name college student. Okay, so all the details regarding the college student will be storing under that table. Now we have to provide a name. Okay, so I'll be using the name attribute over here, and let me provide the name, which is college dot students. Okay, college dot students. Once it's done, we can provide a description. So let me just move on to the description. So here we can see that the description is details of college student or college student details. Okay, college students details. Once everything is done, what we have to do is, again, we just need to run Odoo 19. Now let me move on to the database. Here we have our app, which is college ERP. Let me move on to the module info. And as I just move on to the module info, here I will not be seeing anything. And if you want to see that whether we have created the app, the model or not, what we have to do is we can move on to the settings, and under the technical we have the models. So let me move on to the models. So as I just move on to the models, I'll be searching for college, and let's see whether we are just getting the result or not. So in this case here, you can see that we are not getting the result. This is because when we just make any change in the code, we have to upgrade the module. In this case, we have run the module in the Python, but we haven't upgraded. So first, we just need to navigate into the apps, and let me move on to the three dots, and in the module info, here you can see that we have the upgrade button. So let me upgrade everything to load it into the database. So once it's done, you can just navigate into the settings. So here we have the settings. Again, move on to the technical. And in the technical, we can find that we have the models. And let me search for the college over here. So here you can see that we have successfully created a model which is college student. So here you can see the description that is given. So here you can see the college student details is the description which you can find in the UI. And here you can find the model which is college student, okay, which we have given under the names, okay, name attribute. And you can also see the order is based on ID. And in apps you can see the technical name which is college ERP. And when you just move on to the fields, here you can find a default fields such as the created date, that is on which date this is created, create ID, that is who has created this, created by the, okay. And you can find the display name and the ID, the right date, the last updated date also. I mean, last updated by whom will be also getting from here. And as these are the default fields that is available in Odoo, these are known as the magic field. Now let's see how to add fields into the model. If you want to add fields into the model, what you have to do is again navigate into the pie chart. So here we have to add fields. So while providing the fields, API, models, you have to provide it in the ascending order. Okay. So I'll be setting the fields over here. Okay. And I just want to add the fields. Let me separate it with comma. And as I haven't added any fields over here, you can see that the fields will be in gray color. When I start to add fields, you can see that the color of the fields that we are just going to import from Odoo will be changing into white. Now let me click on enter and let me add the fields. So first I just want to add the field called admission number. So I'll be adding the admission number as the field name. And we know we are adding fields, so I'll be using the fields over here. As it's a character, I'll be using the type as character over here. And you can just use a string over here. The string is basically used to display the name in the UI. So I'll be using the string. So here, let me search for the string parameter. And afterwards, I'll be setting the name, which is admission number. And afterwards, if you want to set this field as mandatory, you can just use a parameter called required, okay, or the attribute called required. So let me choose required over here. So yeah. So if you simply search for required, will you get that? Yes, you'll be getting that. So required equal to true. I am making this field mandatory. So it is a field. I mean, you cannot just skip this field. It is mandatory to fill the details in the field. Now let me add the other field called admission date. Okay. So admission date, as we are just dealing with dates, here you can see that the field will be having a type as date. And let me add that. Okay. And afterwards, we have to add the string. So here I'll be setting the string parameter over here as admission date. And if you want to just set this field as required, you can again use the required attribute and set it as true. Okay. So once it's done, again, let me run everything. And here we can just move on to the apps, and we just need to upgrade everything to load into the database. Let me click on upgrade, and here you can see that we are successfully adding those fields under the model college student. Now again, let me move on to the settings. Under the technical, you can see that we have the models. So let me search for model. Where is it? And under the model, we can search for the college. And here you can see that we have successfully added the fields, which is admission date as well as admission number. You can find the field label over here. But still, we are not just getting the module in the home screen. This is because we haven't added the views. So let's see how to add the views. So to add the views, what we have to do is actually we have to again add a directory called views. Use college ERP and move on to views. And here you can see that I'm choosing the directory called views, and inside this I'll be adding my views. So first we have to create a menu. So while creating the or naming the views, here we have to provide a proper standard. First you can provide the menus, right? I mean, we want to create the menus. So as it's an XML file, here you can see that we cannot directly set the extension. So I'll be using the file over here, and I want to create the menus for college ERP. So you can set that college ERP menus dot XML. Define the extension and click on enter. Now inside this, I'll be defining the menu. So let's see how to define a menu. Again, move on to the add-ons, and under the add-ons here we have the views. So let me search for the view here. Well, we are just getting the view. Let's move on to here, and here you can see that we have to define all these things. Okay, not everything, but I'll show you how to define a a XML file. So first we have to provide the XML version and the encoding standard. As we are just dealing the records in Odoo, we have to use the Odoo tag. So let me move on by copying this, and let's move on to our custom add-ons where we have to consider the views, and let me choose the college ERP, and let me set it over here. As we have an opening tag for Odoo, we also just need to close it. Now let's see how to add a menu over here in Odoo 19. Now let's define the main menu. So we'll be defining the menu inside the Odoo tag. Use menu item and menu item ID equal to menu college ERP root. So while setting the menu item, we have to follow a basic standard, and afterwards we have to get the name of the module, right? So I'll be defining the name of the module as college ERP. So this name will be treated in the home screen. Okay, college ERP, and yeah, let's set that, and let me close the main menu. Okay, so here we are just getting the error. This is because we have provided the main menu, but we haven't provided the equal to over here. Okay, so once it's done, yeah, you can see that the error is simply vanished from here. So we can just provide a command that this is the main menu. Okay, so let me apply re-rent the Odoo 19. So once the Odoo 19 is re-rent over there, again let's move on to the apps, and let me upgrade the module. Okay, and we have the module info. Under the apps we have the module info, and in the module info we can find the install feature. So here you can see we are not getting the created menus and views over here. This is because we haven't added the created menu in the man first file. Okay, so as we just move to the man first file, we have to add a key called data. So let me just provide that. Oh my God. Okay. Data, and let's set everything over here. Colon, use the bracket. Within this, we'll be defining the views. So here you can see that we have the college ERP menus.xml. So I'll be copying the path, use Control Shift C and move on to the manifest. And within this, I'll be setting the path, but I don't want the complete path. I only need the path from views, uh, college. Yeah, I mean views, and inside the views, we have the file college ERP menus.xml. So once it's done, again, rent the file, and let's move on to the ERP, and let me upgrade the module, and let's see whether the menu is being installed or not. Move on to the apps, and here we can find the module info and move on to installed features, and you can see that we have successfully created the college ERP over here, but still we cannot find the module over here. Okay, now we just need to provide the sub menus and all. So upon moving on to the sales module, here you can see that we have the sub menu, and this is a sub menu without the action, and the quotation is a sub menu with the action. So likewise we can also do in the custom module also. So here in this case, the sales is the main menu. So currently we have created the main menu, which is the college ERP. Likewise, we can also create the sub menu and sub menu with the action. So let's move on to the PyCharm again. And here we can find the college ERP menus.xml. Again, let's navigate into there. And here I just want to create a sub menu. So if I want to create a sub menu, first let me provide a comment over here that it's a sub menu, and let me again use the same block of code, and let me paste it over here, and we have to make slight change over here. We know we have to use the ID as unique, so I'll be changing the ID over here. Okay, so it's a sub menu, and I just want to set the sub menu as the college management. um, here you can see the sub menu is not college management, students management. So inside the student management, we will have a lot more thing to manage, such as the student profile, the marks, and everything. Okay, so let me change the menu ID as menu college ERP, and as it's a sub menu, you can set it as student management. And yeah, let me again run this, and let's move on to the college ERP, and let me upgrade. So once the upgrading is done, you can just move on to the install feature of college ERP, and let's move on to the apps, and under the module info you can find the install features, and here you can see that we have the sub menu. And upon moving on to the settings, here we can find the technical, and in the technical we can also find the menu items. So let me search for the menu items. If you cannot find the menu items from here, you can directly search the menu item. We have the option to directly search the menu item. Yeah, here you can find the menu item under the user interface. So let me search for college over here. So as I just search for college, here you can see the main menu, which is the college ERP. We haven't defined the parent menu, so that field will be set to null, and the sequence is 10 over here, and the full path is given. And as we haven't defined any actions, we cannot see the menu in the home screen. Now let's see, I have just given a temporary action over here, and let's see whether we'll be getting the module over here. Right now we are not getting that because we haven't defined the the action in the code. Okay, now let me provide the submenu with the action. So if we want to provide a submenu with the action, first we have to define the action. To define the action, what I'll be doing is that first I have to create another file for the XML. Okay, so here we want to create a file. So that's for college student. Okay, so under the students management, we'll be having an action called college students to manage the student details and all. So upon clicking on the submenu students, I just need to get into a form or list. Okay, so I'll be setting it as college students views dot xml, and again click on enter. So once it's done, what we have to do is let's move on to the college ERP. Now again, let me copy everything and let me paste the basic layout of the XML file and let me remove it. Okay. So once it's done, what we have to do is we just need to define the action. So to define the action, first I'll be using the tag called record ID. So in the record ID, I have to provide an action called college ERP. Okay, action college ERP, because first we want to just get into the module upon clicking on the college ERP, right? And here we have to use a model. Okay, so I'll be using model over here, and let me search for IR dot action. So if you want to just search anything from the add-ons, you can use IR dot actions over here. Let me use it and Control Shift F. And here you can see that currently we are in the Python file. We just need to get the result from the XML file. So here you can see that we have the ir.actions.act window, because here we are just performing the window action. So I'll be copying that. And once it's been copied, you can just move on here and paste it under the model. So let me set that, and here you can see that now we just need to add the field name. So I'm going to add the field name as student. So let me open the tag, field name as name itself, and here provide students. And now next what we have to do is we just need to provide the model. So again, let me copy it and paste it over here. And instead of the name over here, we can set it as res model. Okay. Now let me provide the model. So we know that the model is college students, college dot students. So if you have any doubt regarding that, you can simply navigate into the models, and here you can see that the model name is college students. Now again back to the college student views, and afterwards what we have to do is we just need to define a view mode. So to define the view mode, again let me copy it, and here let me make slight changes in the field. So here instead of res models, here you can set the field as view mode. And here you can define the the view modes can be list, form, and everything. And here we just need to set an help over here, field called help. Okay, name. So if we are not getting any result, we just need to get an help message over there. So I'll be setting the help over here. and the type will be HTML. Okay, and once it's done, we have to use a paragraph tag, because if we don't have any reports created, we have to use a class, and we'll be showing that like create your first student as the uh, description. So when you just move on to a list view, and when you just find that you don't have any records in your database and you are just going to create your first record, so when you just navigate into the UI, you'll be getting that showing that create your first record. Okay, I hope you're getting my words. So I'll be using the class as o views content, no content, smiling face. And now close it, and inside the p tag, here you can provide the caption, create your first student. Okay, so once everything is done, you can use Control A, Control Alt T to get the proper indentation. And let me run the file. Okay, here we have made a small spelling mistake. It's ir.action. Okay, so okay, so once everything is done, you can just rerun. And afterwards, let's move on to the apps, and let me upgrade the module. So once we upgrade the module, here we have the module. Let me move on to that. And under the module info, under the install feature, you would be able to see the install features, which is college ERP and student management. We haven't linked any action to it. Now let's move on to the settings. So let's move on to the technical, and here we can find the action. So under the action, you can search for the actions. Here you can see different actions that have been created. Okay, so here you can search for students. Okay, and yeah, we cannot find the action over here, but if the action is linked, we can easily see that action. Okay, before that, let me move on to the menu item. So the menu item will be visible under the user interface. So you can simply search for the user interface, and still you can see that it won't be added. So when I search for the students management, here you can see that we haven't added the action. Now we just need to link the action over here. Okay, so if I just want to link the action, let's see how to link that. So now we have just defined the action, right? Now we just need to define this, link this action to the menu. To link this action to the menu, again move on to the college ERP, and what we have to do is we just need to link. So before doing that, we have to define the parent. So here we know the college ERP is the parent. So in this submenu, I'll be defining the parent first. Okay, so let me define the parent tag. So you can simply use parent equal to and provide the menu item ID. Copy it, paste it. Okay. So once it's done, then the next step is that we have to define a submenu with action. So I'll be copying the entire thing and let me paste it over here. So this is a menu with actions. Now here you can see that under the menu with action, you have to first provide the menu ID. So it's simply college ERP student, and here you can provide the name of this as student itself. Now you can see that the parent will be this one, that is menu college ERP student management, right? So you can set accordingly. So I'll be changing the parent from here as menu college ERP student management, and let me copy it and let me set it over here. So once everything is done, now comes the setting of action. So we have to use a action attribute over here, and here we just need to define the action. Upon moving on to the college student view, here you can see that we have provided a unique ID for this report. So copy it and move on to college ERP menu and paste it over here. Okay, so while copying, ensure that you have copied correctly, or else give the proper spelling over here. And let me again run everything. Now what we have to do is, again, let's move on to the apps, and under the apps we just need to upgrade everything in order to load into the database. And you can find the other submenu that we have created under the install feature. So here something went wrong. So this is because here you can see that we have the menu ID, menu college ERP student, name students, and we have made something over here. So the issue is raising from the actions. So first let me remove it. Okay, let me hide everything or comment it, and let me run it to find the issue. Now again let's move on and let me upgrade the module. So once the module is upgraded, you can see that if it has got any other error, that will be showing over here. So currently we have successfully installed the module. Okay, so once we provide the parent menu, we can find the parent menu and everything. So under the install feature, you can see that college ERP is the parent menu. Inside this, it has got a sub menu, and under the technical, we can search for technical directly from here. So under the technical, or let me search for menu item. Okay, so under the menu item, here we have the submenu. We know the submenu name is students management. So I'll be setting student management over here. So when I just search for student management, here you can see that as we just provide the parent, here you can find it over here. But as we haven't linked the action is missing over here. Now we just need to set the action. So let me uncomment this, and afterwards ensure that you have provided the menu ID, which is menu college ERP student. And afterwards, I'll be setting the name as student itself. And here we need to provide the parent. So it comes under menu college ERP student management, right? Okay, well, and then what is the mistake over here is we just need to go with the action. So when we just move on to the action, here we cannot find it. So let me again run it and let's find the error. So let me try to again upgrade the module. Again, when we try to get upgrade the module, we are getting the error. The error we are getting over here is because we haven't added the action file into the in the man first file. So let's move on to the man first file. So upon moving on to the man first file, here you can see we haven't added the action file. Okay, so here we have created the action file which is called college students. So let me copy college students and let me add it over here. So while setting the action file, what you have to do is you have to add the file above the menus, because when you just try to add it below the menus, you will be getting error. Okay, so in order to avoid that, we'll be adding it over here. Always ensure that you have added the proper path. So we know that this files comes under the directory views. So you use views over here and use a forward slash and provide the file name, which is college students. That is the action file. Okay. So once it's done, what you have to do is again run the file, and let's move on to the Odoo database. And here you can upgrade the module. Okay. So let me upgrade the module. So here you can see that we'll be not getting the, yeah, again we are getting. Why is it so? Here you can see that custom add-ons, college views, students, PY college menus, we are just getting something error over here. Okay, it's so again let's move on to the manifest, and the error is only because we haven't separate this with a comma. Okay, so we have to separate it with a comma, and again let me rerun and let me close it, and again let me upgrade the module, and if there is no error we won't get getting the message, but still we are getting something over here. So here you can see that custom add-ons, college ERP views, college student .py. So something exists in college student py. Okay, so let's move on to college student py. So maybe when you just move on to the man first file, you just came to realize that we have just provided the Python file. Actually, here we have to provide the man first file, right? So let me copy the path. So let me use Control Shift C to get the exact path, and let me remove everything over here. So when you just give the wrong file, you'll be getting the error over there, and we only just need to get it from the views. So let me provide that, and afterwards enclose this in codes, and again let me rerun this. So when you just get the error, do not get panic. What you have to do is you just need to understand what is the error, and by moving on to the error section you can easily identify where you have made mistake and what is the mistake, and everything can be tracked or get from the log or either from the UI. So currently we have just sort out the issue. Now let me again upgrade. So here you can see that now let's guess that we won't be getting any error over here. And let's wait for a while. And ta-da, we are not getting any error right now. Now let me move on to the module info. Under the module info, you can find the install feature, that is college ERP, student management, students. Okay, the other menu. Now let me move on to the menu item. Okay, menu items, and here we have the menu for managing the students, right? So let me search for students over here. Okay, so as I just add the parent menu, you can find the parent menu. As we haven't linked the action for this, you cannot find the action over there, but here you can see that we have added the action for the sub menu so that the window action is visible over here. Still we cannot find the menu in the home screen. It's only because we haven't added the security file. But if you want to just get the menu over here, there is an alternative way. Just enable the developer mode. exactly it. Here you can see that we can just move on to like here you can see that we can become the super user. So let me become the super user. As I just become the super user, I'm able to see the college ERP over here. So here you can see that as we don't have any records over here, I have already given that create your first student over here as if I don't have any record. So as you just move on to the the actions, here you can see that we have just used a class that is uh, or view no content smiling face, that is to create your first student. Okay, so you can see the caption is visible over here, but still that no smiling face is not visible over here. So we'll be correcting everything in the upcoming video and all. Now I'll be moving on to providing the action. Okay, so if you want to just log out from the super user, you just need to just log out from here. And here I'm going to provide the password. Use the admin. So I have just used an extension over there. So upon using that extension, you can just use the option. So when we just create the database, you just know that we just provide the credential as admin, the username and password as admin itself. So if if you're just setting the username and password as admin itself, and when you just have this extension, you can simply use that option in order to log in into the Odoo database. Now we just need to create a security file. Okay. To create the security file, let's move on to the college student. And here first we have to create a directory called security. So let's set the security. Okay, ensure that you have provided the proper spelling. So once the security is provided, what we have to do is we have to create a file over here. So I'll be creating the file name as ir.model dot and access dot csv. Okay, ensure that you have provided the proper spelling and click on enter. So let's move on here and let's see whether we are just getting any warning that we haven't provided the security over here. So here you can see that Odoo itself is suggesting a security that to be added. So let me copy everything. Okay. So I'll be copying it from here. So in first case, what we have to do is we need to provide the ID. Okay. So here you can see that we have the ID, the name, then we have to provide the model ID. Afterwards, we just need to provide the group ID. We just need to provide the group user permissions. So in this case, you can see that I'll be setting the the ID as college ERP over here. Okay. So if you want to change this, you can make further changes, or you can simply use this itself. So here you can see it's been given over here as college ERP access college students. Okay, that is the ID. And here you can see the name is given as college, access college student. Okay, so if you want to just use underscore or dot, no problem. Let me replace the underscore with dot for the name. Okay, and afterwards here we have to provide the model ID. So here the model ID can be seen as college ERP. Okay, model college student. So while naming the model ID, how it will be naming is that we know the name of the module is college ERP, which is given over here. Okay, then use model and provide the model name that you have created. So the model name that we have created is college student. So first provide the name of the module, which is college ERP, then model, then provide the model that you have created. Afterwards, we have to provide the base user. So base user groups are the internal users, and I'll be providing base.group user. Now we just need to grant the permission. So currently you can see that the user group has got the read permission. Now I just want to grant the write permission, create permission, and unlink permission. Unlink is nothing but that is the delete permission. So if you're just setting it as 1, we are providing the permission. If you're setting it as 0, we are not providing the permission. So I'll be setting everything as 1 so that the internal user can just manage with reading, writing, creating, and unlinking. So once it's 10, you can again um, run the file. So before running that, we also just need to link the security groups in the man first file. So let's see how to do that. Okay. So if I'm simply running it and upgrading the module, I will not be able to find any further changes over there. Now let me link um, the ir.model.access.csv in the man first file. So while providing the security group in the man first file, let's move on to the man first file first. Okay, here we have to provide top of all the data that we have provided. Okay, otherwise we'll be getting the error. In order to avoid the error, ensure that you have provided the security file first. Now let me use the double quote separated with a comma, and here we have the use Control-Shift-C to get the entire path, and here we only just require the path from security. Let me get it over here. Now again, let me run my file, and let's see whether we'll be getting the module in the home screen or not. So let's move on to the database, apps. Again, let's make further changes. That's to upgrade the module. And once you upgrade the module, here you can see that the changes that taking place. Yes, we have successfully created a module which is a college ERP. Now, if you want to set a particular icon for this module, you can easily set that, and we'll be discussing all those in the upcoming module. So that's all for today. If you find this video informative, please do like, share, and subscribe our channel. If you want Odoo customization, Odoo implementation, and Odoo tutorial videos, feel free to contact Cybrosys. And that's all for today. Thank you for watching the video.